Calling 911. It's a lesson we teach our kids. And in Spokane County, 911 calls go to Spokane Regional Emergency Communications, where operators take both emergency and crime check calls. And if you've ever made one of those calls, you're familiar with wait times. We've heard your frustrations, but it wasn't until the mayor of Spokane Valley brought up the same concerns at a city council meeting because of this man climbing through the ceiling of City Hall that we got some answers about the time it takes to get you help when you call 911.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
This is Jen calling from City Hall in Spokane Valley.
This 911 call from an employee inside Spokane Valley City Hall came in at 2:51 p.m. on a Friday.
What do you mean he climbed into your ceiling?
He went into the men's restroom and climbed up into the ceiling.
That wasn't the only emergency call about this man. By the time this call came in, it was nearly an hour later.
He hovered outside my front door for a while. I called crime check and nobody answered, so...
Yeah, we're same operators. We got 5 people and 17 calls coming in at once.
Susan Uzai's business, Travato Interiors, is not far from City Hall.
And he walked in, seeming a little desperate.
It was more than a year ago, but Susan says she would have trouble forgetting some of this man's requests.
I think his first request was, do I have any alcohol? And then he said, do you have a tissue? So I had a little roll of toilet paper because I had a cold, and I handed it to him, and he started winding it around himself like a mummy.
The man seen in surveillance video from Spokane Valley City Hall was eventually arrested at the Wells Fargo on Sprague. The whole ordeal brought up during a city council meeting by Mayor Pam Haley.
It's kind of what we thought until we tried to call 911 for an intruder here and ran into some of the same problems that citizens had been complaining about, the being put on hold and the asking to call back.
Mayor Haley's question centers on wait times, or what some think of as hold times during a 911 call. You hear it referenced in this part of the call.
I was on hold for a while, so I tried with a different number.
Spokane Regional Emergency Communications says this is before a caller has talked to one of their communications officers. This year in Spokane County, the average 911 wait time is between 9 and 14 seconds. If you're calling crime check, wait times are between 13 and 25 seconds.
I wanted the person on the phone to decide whether I had an emergency.
SREC Deputy Director Kim Arredondo walked us through the communications center.
So on our phone system, it differentiates between a non-emergency call that comes in on the crime check phone, and it triages it on the 911 side, so it shares which line it's coming in on.
SREC says an in-progress event like armed robbery, breathing issues, or drowning is considered an emergency. A suspicious person, a vehicle prowler, or a burglary not in progress would be crime check or a non-emergency call. SREC looked into this incident at City Hall specifically. They say there were several issues. At City Hall, 3 calls were coming in and 2 were from the same person. Another person called and hung up after a few seconds. They say you should never hang up once you've made that call to 911 because if you do, SREC is required to call back to check in on your safety, and that ties up the lines even more, causing confusion for callers in an emergency. Susan tells me she's thankful for the police response in these situations. It's not the first time she's had to make calls to 911.
I've got my sign on the back door. I've got my gate up.
And she doesn't expect it to be the last. And we did offer another interview about this incident to SREC. They declined. They did send us a statement and many different words about this specific incident that we included in that report. You can read their full statement, though, right now on KXLY.com. I did talk to several businesses there near City Hall, including Susan's, who you heard from, and they all echoed the same comments. When they call 911, it's usually in a panic.
Well, right, and that information about staying on the line, even if you're waiting 10 seconds, 20 seconds, I mean, that's such a crucial element of these calls.
Right, and you cannot hang up. SREC wants to reiterate that. Anytime you hang up, you are putting other callers, in that wait time even longer. It's going to be longer for you to get a hold of one of their communications officers, who then still has to triage your call and get you to the help that you need. So always important to call 911. They definitely don't want you to see this story and think you shouldn't call 911 in an emergency. But those wait times are certainly something that we've heard from plenty of people here, and the city has also heard in Spokane Valley.
Yeah, certainly good to clear that up. Kirsten, great report there. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.